Right, following on from the Black Eunuch and Royal Bodyguards video, taking another further look at a bit more movie stuff and all that. And this one is a movie called Attack the Block, right? Attack the Block. And this one is directed by a white, this time, right? A middle class white person called Adam Cornish, right? Or was it Joe Cornish or something, right? But anyway, this Joe Cornish, right? So you got the Cornish ideas, like the sort of King Arthur's castle, Tintagel and all that, doing Cornwall type idea, and the unicorn type of thing, right? And this is a fairly interesting little movie in terms of its propaganda agenda, because in this particular one, right, it's about a sort of again, it's like a group of young urban blacks and that, right? And there's one sort of Turk and white in it, right? And if you remember going back a few years, it used to be the other way around. The type of the movies they made was like always like a group of whites with a Turk and black. See, now it's like a group of blacks with a Turk and white, right? Yeah, they've just changed it around, right? And everybody was too sort of, like frightened to sort of say anything. Do you know what I mean? Because of the sort of PC programming they've put in and all that, right? But there's like one Turk and white in this sort of group of urban black youths and that on a London housing estate, right? So like same thing as usual type of thing, like gangsters and all this type of rubbish, right? And obviously the sort of white is noticeable by his sort of bad attempt at a sort of accent that like, but he's speaking this type of accent, and he's obviously, the sort of the young actor's like a middle class white tea drinker, and he's sort of like, notably the accent is well off, like, you know what I mean? But interestingly, this the propaganda agenda, because these sort of young blacks, right, in this movie, they team up with a couple of I think it's like a white female doctor, right? So you got your NHS type of propaganda and stuff like that. It's like a white female doctor. I think the same actress who was in this one went on to become Doctor Who in the in the BBC series. So that's like obviously it was all planned out and all that, right? The sort of idea of the World Health Organization and the sort of changing rules around for sort of supposed females and sort of black people and all this. You see what I'm saying? Very political propaganda agendas as always, right? But in this particular movie, right, they sort of unite against a common foe type of thing, right? Which goes back to Ronald Reagan's sort of speech, which was about, if there was an attack from outer space or something, right, then sort of all the human race or whatever would have to sort of unite and fight this common foe, right? So obviously the outer space idea, right, is relating again to the natural type of people again, right? So basically, and in this this movie, right, they unite against space aliens, right? Sort of evil space aliens and that are attacking, coming down to Earth and all this, right? And so this is very interesting propaganda, right? Because it's like the idea of the sort of the black urban black people and the sort of strong white female type idea, of course, all tea drinkers, as we're not, right? Uniting against this foe of the sort of space, the creature from space type of thing, you know what I mean? So the creature from space is basically the hidden code for the natural people, right? That being the space obviously being the scapegoat and all this, right? And they attack the block, right, which is the name, the title, is again another weaponized code to do with like sword fighting, sword fencing and sword craft and all that type of thing. See, and you have to remember that the sort of witchcraft, right? The witchcraft derived from the swordcraft, right? Because as we know, sort of Cain in the Bible was the first to pick up the weapon and create a sort of a weapon, a sword, out of what was a donkey's jawbone or whatever. but he was the first weaponsmith type of thing, right? So obviously they pick up the sword, and then from the swordcraft, say, it became the witchcraft. So it became a more mental idea as opposed to physical. See, the type of the weaponized usages and that became more mental as opposed to physical, right? And so attack the block, right, is basically a sort of a code word meaning attack the head, right? Attack the head, right? So blockheads type of thing, like the blockhead. The famous example of blockhead, apart from the Laurel and Hardy movie, of course, you know what I mean. So blockheads means like, you know, idiots type of thing, right? And the famous example of the blockheads is the sort of European Union picture or painting, which depicted sort of all the sort of square-headed blockheads, sort of you know, walking around outside the Tower of Babel idea and all that, which again, of course, is from the Bible and all that, right? So like all the signifying like the confused sort of natural people, you know, with blockheads, square type of heads and that, because they're in confusion and they're sort of stupid and all that type of thing, right? So and a block, of course, a block like a cube is basically 6 sides, you know what I mean, for the hex. So using the hex against the blockheads type of thing, right? So this movie's called Attack the Block, which basically means attack the head, right? So as I say, that relates to like a sword fencing type of technique, right? But also, you know, as it's evolved, as we know, you know, it's a mental technique to attack the head, means to sort of, you know, which is basically code for what they're doing to natural people through their sort of hex propaganda, their sort of education system, their sort of media, everything like that. Attack the head, say, basically means to attack the brain, to confuse, and all the rest. See what I'm saying? So it's no interesting little piece of like Royal Masonic propaganda, yeah, in this movie, and that's like following these type of agendas of like black eunuch and female empowerment. But of course, you know, both these sort of you know, stereotypical representations are just code for the sort of hidden tea drinkers underneath. See what I'm saying? So they use very PC political type of propaganda to disguise the fact of, you know, of what's really going on, which is obviously a sort of tea, you know, surge in the tea population and all this.